Hi everyone, welcome on our webinar about ePMP today. I can see that we have a huge audience today, so I feel that everybody are looking for something new from ePMP. And I know it's been a while you heard any news from our side. So let's wait for a couple more minutes for the one who is being late, and then we can start. Okay, I just received a question from someone that you can hear me. So if somebody can write in the chat window or in the questions that you can hear me, it will be really helpful. Because the last thing I want that I will. Okay, there are many of you telling me that you can hear me. Thank you everyone. Okay, I think everybody who wanted to join us today joined us. So thank you and welcome from warm welcome from ePMP team. So I believe many of you here to listen about ePMP 3000. And from the very beginning, I want to upset you because today is not about ePMP 3000. We will have a separate event, the separate launch event, and additional webinar and presentation about ePMP 3000. But please stay with me, not go away, because we have a lot of exciting stuff besides 3000 uh, in our product portfolio and other exciting news. So let's go through the presentation I prepared and chime you in ePMP world. So the first thing that very few customers know when I talk to different customers worldwide, that right now that you can do the collocation between ePMP and PMP 450. So if you have collocated sectors with CN Medusa or with 450i or with any other 450 product, you can collocate it with ePMP, meaning that you can do the GPS synchronization and you can do the frequency reuse between these two different platforms. So on the top, you can say both of products, they support GPS sync. What's the issue to have them synchronized? And it's been an issue for a while that two products from the same company but from different product lines were not able to collocate. The reason behind that we use different frame structure for 450 and for ePMP, and we had some technical challenges to align them properly, and it required work from both 450 team side and from ePMP team. So finally, in the 352 release of ePMP, we implemented this collocation scenario. So starting in 352, you can finally enable the collocation mode between CN Medusa, 450i, and ePMP. All the products from one company, from Cambium, can be collocated, and you can do the frequency reuse and to have less self-interference and to be way more to use the frequency resource efficiently. So one of the helpful tools we have developed, it is called Collocation tool. So I know that that's a long URL, but you can just go to our support website and find the Collocation tool there under ePMP subsection. So it's an Excel spreadsheet. Let me show you this Excel spreadsheet here. So this is how it looks like. It's relatively simple. So all you have to do, you choose channel bandwidth you use on for 450i or 450M, which is CN Medusa, and you do the same for the ePMP. So set up different settings like channel bandwidth, maximum range you have in your system, the percentage of downlink data or the downlink ratio in case of ePMP, and the frame length. For the 450, you also have to set up the contention slots. So for this example, as you see, with 75 downlink data on 450 and 75 to 25 ratio on ePMP, these two systems can be collocated. Very few people know that you can even collocate two systems working with a different channel bandwidths. So you can choose 40 on ePMP, and as you can see, it will still be fine from the collocation perspective. So you can set up different channel bandwidths and you can still do the frequency reuse. Obviously, if you choose different frame sizes, it will not work. So it will warn you that it is not possible to collocate the system with different frame length. Even with the same frame length, if you choose the different ratio, for example, 50-50 here, you can see that they will not collocate, especially in the uplink, they will interfere with each other, these two systems. So this tool, it definitely helps you to figure out if you can collocate 450 and ePMP. Okay, so how it helps you? Without collocation, you need additional guard interval between these two systems. With the collocation, you can do the only 5 megahertz of guard interval between PMP and ePMP APs. And that's the recommended way of doing it. But we know customers who actually do the frequency reuse on the same frequency with PMP and ePMP systems. And now we have a question. Okay. At the end, we will have the Q&A session. So please save your questions till the end. If they are not relative to the exactly what I'm talking right now. And I will do my best to answer all your questions related to ePMP and probably other products from Cambium. Okay. So what you have to do to make this possible? So obviously, you need to get sync from one of the sync sources. For the 450, it can be UGPS, CMM, or onboard GPS in case of the ePMP. So as I showed you in the spreadsheet, what kind of parameters you can tweak and see if they will fit with each other are the channel bandwidth, max range, downlink data percentage, contention slot, and on ePMP is downlink ratio that will impact the uh, frame allocation, the frame size in the downlink and in the uplink. So that's the collocation portion, and it was introduced in 3.5.2. Okay, the next thing very few people know, but recently we introduced the ePMP in 6 GHz range. In most countries, it is license band, and for our customers in the United States, it is licensed for the microwaves mostly, but in some parts of the world, especially in Eastern Europe, it can be very popular frequency range. So we introduced our most popular models in the 6 GHz, which is the connectorized unit with a GPS sync, connectorized unit without GPS, and the Force 180 6 GHz model with integrated antenna. All three units are redesigned, so they support only frequencies from 5950 to 6425, and you can't use them in a traditional 5 gig spectrum. On the Force 186 gigahertz, the antenna has been redesigned, so it's a different antenna, not the one we used on the regular Force 180. Okay. So that's the 6 gigahertz models. They are available for order. We're still pending some of the regulatory documents in some regulatory domains. So you should ask our sales guys if you can use these units legally in your country. Okay, so what other products we have right now in the ePMP product line and in the Cambium in general? So first of all, the point-to-point portfolio, which we filled with our ePMP stuff. So from left to right, you can see different point-to-point links available from Cambium. From left to right, they are sorted by price. So on the left is the most cost-effective solution. On the right is the most powerful radio you can buy from Cambium. One of the new models you might be aware of is Force 325. It is a connectorized, not connectorized, sorry, it's integrated unit with the dish. So it's a dish product with a relatively high gain, which is very cost effective, and it provides really high throughput, even comparing with its nearest competitors and other products in the Cambium product line. So what is the Force 300? So Force 300, it's the ePMP, it's the first product out of the whole ePMP product line, which is based on the 802.11ac Wave 2 chipset. And that's the new thing from relatively new thing from Cambium, which we constantly improve with the new software updates. It is based on the Wave 2 chipset in Wave 1. And what's the difference in all these Wave 1 and Wave 2 things? So in Wave 1, you have additional things like 80 megahertz channel bandwidth and higher order modulation to 256 QM modulation. So it gives you higher throughput. And most of the competitors in the market, they're using Wave 1 chipsets. So with ePMP Force 300-25, we're using Wave 2 chipset. So what Wave 2 in general gives us? It has the same 80 MHz channel support and higher order modulations. It also adds 80 plus 80 operation, which is not applicable for Force 300s. But the most important thing, it brings you the multi-user MIMO operation. The multi-user MIMO operation is very important if you want to use Force 300-25 in the point-to-multipoint scenario as a subscriber model. And I will explain it a little bit further why it is that important. So what's under the hood? As you can see on the right on the picture, we have a huge heatsink on the radio. So because we have a pretty powerful CPU, so it's we have to remove the heat from the CPU. So as you can tell, the packet per second performance going up comparing to all our previous ePMP products. Because of the new cold start heater circuitry and the possibility to turn on the runtime heater, we support extreme temperatures from -40 degrees to operate without any additional external heaters or something like this. So the throughput wise, the performance is going up to 7,100 megabits per second. Obviously, it's 80 megahertz channel and 256 QAM. As I said, packet per second performance is going up to 65,000 packets per second. It supports 20, 40, and 80 megahertz channels, and it can operate from 4.9 up to 5.9 gigahertz, depending on your regulatory domain. So for now, we support only TDD mode of operation with 5 millisecond latency. And flexible mode is something in our roadmap. But even with a 5 millisecond latency, because of the new design, new chipset, and new software architecture, we've been able to reduce our latency in the point-to-point down to average of 3 milliseconds, even with the TDD operation of 5 millisecond frame size. So what other features we have in the Force 300? We have a dedicated second radio, which can work in both 2.4 and 5 gig. So if it works in the 2.4, it can be used as a management access. So we are planning to add support to our application, which is called CN Archer, to help installers to set up the unit. So you don't need any additional dongle. You can use CN Archer to set up the unit. If it is working in 5 gig, we have a dedicated spectrum analyzer on the second radio, which can scan the spectrum and show you the live spectrum without interrupting the main operation, main link. And the good thing is that there is no more Java client, so it is web-based, it is fast and easy to use background spectrum analyzer. Okay. So what else? Right now, you can buy a pair of Force 325 and use it as a high throughput, high performance point-to-point link, which is very cost effective, especially comparing to our closest competitors in the point-to-point market. But it can be also used as a high gain subscriber with ePMP 3000, which is coming. And as I said, it's coming in the we will have additional launch event very close. So it can be also used as a subscriber with the ePMP 2000, 1000 access points. So the forward compatibility is in the roadmap. So you can connect the Force 300 as a subscriber to ePMP 2000 and 1000 access points. So at the event when the Force 300 ePMP 3000 will be available to you, you can just swap the access point and get more throughput out of it. Okay, so the future capabilities that are not yet enabled, obviously, it is the subscriber capability. Right now, we're extensively testing, and we already have ePMP 3000 on the alpha customer sites testing it for us. So that's the number one. The second thing that we are exploring is the runtime heater to start the heating during the runtime operation in case we are running in the extreme cold. The other exciting future functionality is the DSO, which is the dynamic spectrum analyzer. Because we have a dedicated radio, we can do the DFS, we can scan for the interference, and we can report all this data in the point-to-multipoint system back to the access point. So we can decide if we want to switch channel, and we can give recommendations on the frequency planning. And this information eventually will be available in the CN Maestro, so you can take a look at this information on the system level. The other thing is the Wi-Fi management application. It is not yet enabled in the software because it requires joint work from our side as ePMP group and the CN Archer application. So we will do this after initial launch of CN Archer for ePMP. And for our friends from United States, we welcome you on the Wispapalooza in October if you want to take a look at the CN Archer. The other thing is 4.9 gigahertz range support, which we already planned in the nearest release. Okay, so what else we have in terms of the system support inside Cambium on Force 325? Force 325 is fully supported by Link Planner, so you can load up GPS coordinates in the Link Planner, and you can plan very accurately and get the bill of materials for the Force 300 unit from the Link Planner. Also, CN Maestro fully supports Force 325 from the very beginning. So it gives you the unified way of management, the single pane of glass that you can use for management of all your Cambium equipment. So one of the key points and comparison of Force 300-25 against one of our competitors. It shows you so-called the waterfall data. So on the x-axis, you can see the signal level, and on the y-axis, you can see the throughput in megabits. So what it means that if you are reaching certain level, you are reaching certain level of throughput. So in the blue circle, you can see the if you have signals in the range of from -65 to -75. Force 300 outperforms in terms of the megabits and throughput Mimosa B5. And it means that you have the same link budget on both of them, and it just shows you the technology inside Force 300 against the competitor. These examples are without interference. Now let's inject the interferer. And with interferer, it looks way, way worse. So in the downlink, as you can see, the throughput at the levels down to -67, it goes almost to nothing. So the interferer was ePMP 1000 unit that were constantly transmitting on the same frequency. So now let's have some real life examples, what it gives you in real life. So one of our customers in Latin America, where it's kind of a Wild West in terms of the interference, and here is the spectrum analysis scan with the average noise floor of around -75 with the peaks of -70. So it's pretty tough environment for any kind of link. So let's see how two different equipment works in the same condition. So I have a short video for you. So you can see the ePMP Force 300 working. So these are the levels, the current RSSI levels. And now we are going to start the link test. That was one of the videos customer sent us, and we are really grateful that they can do this type of videos. Okay, so you're getting almost 150 megabits of throughput in one direction and around almost 50 megs in the other direction. So here we go. And it's 80 megahertz channel, as you can see. Now let's go to the other one. Working on the exactly same channel in exactly same conditions, on the exactly same pole and the exactly same distance. Which is the Mimosa B5C. Oh, not sorry, not B5C, B5 Lite. Now let's start the link test and see how it performs in the same conditions with high interference. Although the latency were slightly lower on the Mimosa link, but you can see that the throughput is very, very low. In the downlink, and in the uplink, it even fails to finish the test. It gives you the error. Okay, so what's coming next? On the Force 300, we are planning the new firmware update, which is 4.13 in next couple weeks, and it will give you the bunch of throughput improvements and latency improvements on both Force 300 and PTP 550 if you have any. So here is the example, and it's another friendly customer sent it to us. So there is a link of almost 4 kilometers link, and on the left on the graph you can see the throughput, which is a TCP throughput on the 4.1.2 release. After the update on the 4.1.3 release, he is getting almost 200 megs on the exactly same link, and getting maximum out of this hardware platform. So please stay tuned. We will release 4.1.3 very soon, and it is recommended to update your Force 300 links and PTP 550 links to this new firmware, because it will give you a lot of different benefits and improvements for performance and latency. Okay, now we're getting to the end of today's webinar, and it's time for QA. So if you have questions or anything, let's do this. Post your questions in the question box. Okay, so first question, will this be available for offline mode after the webinar is done? Yes, sure, I will. I just recorded the whole webinar and I will post it online on our community forum. So in an urban scenario, if I had several nodes in GPS sync, it's necessary that all nodes keeps the same max range, or this parameter can vary from node to node? That's a very good question. So if you have GPS sync and you want to do the frequency reuse and to have the whole system synchronized, it is not required to have the same max range on all the units. So the maximum range can be different from AP to AP. But that's I'm talking from the ePMP perspective. I believe it's different on the PMP 450 side. So for PMP 450, you have to get the same max range. On ePMP, it is not required to have the same max range if you want to have sync. Okay, so another question was if I will go through the configuration, and I can definitely do this at the end of the QA. So I have a pair of Force 300s opened, so I can go to the web interface and just go through the stuff we have there. Okay, do we have configuration manuals? Definitely, we have a very long and detailed user guide how to configure our ePMP products. It is available on our support website. It is called user guide, and I would definitely recommend to read it because it's a good source of information about ePMP. Okay, so another question, will be there a webinar how to configure Cambiums? Yes, we do plan a series of different webinars on the how to do different configurations. Probably it will be a series of short videos to have it in less time, so it will be less overloaded with information. Okay, so another question, when the background analyzer is available? So on the Force 300 and all the AC units, it's already available. On the 11N, there is no way to do it. So on the 11N, subscribers which are force 200, force 200, force 180, ePMP 2000. There is no way to implement it. But only all AC units, which is force 300 and upcoming ePMP 3000 and other sets of subscribers, it will be available. So it's already available. Okay, so somebody unable to get detailed data sheets and comparison between the force models. The best way to do it, you can post this question on our community forum, so we will not forget about it, and we will provide you information and data sheets there. Okay, the next question is when the ePMP 3000 will be released. So stay tuned. Believe me, very soon you will hear about ePMP 3000. So it will be a separate event. Okay, so another question, if there is E-align on the Force 300. Yes, there is E-align on the Force 300. And let me show you really quick. So here we go. So here is the E-align on the Force 300 unit. And in the 412 software, we added the link test, so you can do the link test. And we also added the throughput chart, so you can see it on the throughput chart below. And if you run it for 20 seconds, for example, you can see it online here. Throughput is coming. Let's switch back. Okay, so another question. We have an issue with power supply mode of Force 300. It seems that the LAN plug is like PMP 450 PoE reversed and not the same as standard PoE like ePMP. So yes, the first units we produced of Force 300s, they had this reversed polarity. So we already fixed it in the production, and all the upcoming Force 300s will support both ways of PoE, so reversed and the standard PoE. Okay, another question, if there is any online certification. We have the online courses. I believe we don't provide online certifications, but there is offline certification, and we have offline certification courses worldwide. So please check our website for the schedule of the certification courses. We also have the training certification courses. So if you want to be a trainer for ePMP, you can join our team of trainers worldwide. Okay, so new to wireless infrastructure and want to clarify the frequency reuse and collocation. Does that mean using the same frequency for base station and on the same pole and tower? So I would recommend you to go to our support website and check the document under ePMP subsection. We have the frequency reuse document. It's not that long, it's probably 10 pages with images. which explains the idea. But the short answer, yes, you can reuse frequencies on the same tower. Two APs or even multiple APs can use the same frequency if you do it properly. And how to do it properly, you can read in the frequency reuse manual. And you can also watch our different webinars, and I believe we already covered it in multiple different webinars. Okay, so how can we show the link distance in Force 300? If you go to the Force 300, and if you go to the monitor wireless on the SM side, on the subscriber side, if you go to the monitor wireless, you should see the distance somewhere. Where is the distance? Okay, here we go. That's the range. I was looking for the word distance, but it's called range. So this is the measured distance of the link. It's available on the subscriber side on the under monitor wireless, so you can check for the range and it will show you the distance. And you can switch to kilometers in the configuration if you prefer kilometers. Okay, so regarding the detailed user guides. Okay, so the user guide I was referring to is this one. So let me guide you through the support website. So if you go to the downloads on the support website, you have to be registered. So go to the download section, then go to the ePMP, and under ePMP you can find the software and you can find the user guides. So this user guide for the version 3.5.2 is for our 11N products, which are the Force 100, Force 200, Force 180, ePMP 2000. So it's one user guide for everything 11N. So you can download it. And the second one is this user guide, is for everything 11AC. So you can also download it. Now let me open up those two. Okay, so these are two user guides, and you can see the listed models that it covers. So 2000, 1000, 1000 to 4, Force 200, so all the units. And this one is for 11AC products, which is Force 300-25 at this point. Okay, so another question, if you can configure Force 300 in the ePTP mode. So if you go to the web interface of Force 300, right now it's available only in the TDD PTP mode, which means it supports only fixed downlink and uplink ratio. So there is no flexible and there is no such thing as ePTP. So if you configure it as 50-50, it will spend half time sending data in the downlink and the half time in the uplink. So if you measure the throughput on the wireless link test here, right? It's for 20 seconds. But you can see that how much data you can push over the link. So 72 megabits in one direction and 75 and 77 in the other direction. But you can do it at the same time. So the aggregate throughput of the link will be 150, but there is no way you can push more than 75 in one direction. You can always change the ratio. So if you change the ratio, and let me change it. It will take a while for a link to come up. Okay, so if you go to monitor wireless, we are waiting for the subscriber. Okay, now it's connected. Let's go and redo the speed test. These are the old results. They are 50-50, 50% downlink, 50 uplink, so it's almost equal. So now let's try the you see the downlink is now downlink is bigger and the uplink is smaller. So the aggregate, let's restart the test because it just connected and we need some statistics to get to maximum throughput. Okay, here we go. You are getting the same 150 megabits, but now 75% of it is in downlink and 35 in the uplink. Okay, so the TDD mode latency right now, as I said, we optimized our TDD mode so it's extremely low. So let's see what is the latency right now on this specific link, which is in the lab, but still. Okay, here we go. It's actually not that good. So the average is 5. Okay, so you see that the latency is less than 5 milliseconds. So it's more like 3 milliseconds because we optimized a lot of things in the scheduler with the TDD, even with the TDD frames. Okay, it looks like I answered all the questions. So if you have any more questions, please post them. And I would like to encourage you to go on our community forum. And if you have any questions or you want to um, get information from other customers on our community, it's a good source of all different useful information. And we would like to see you on Wispapalooza in Las Vegas in October. We are hosting open house there, so if you will be on Wispapalooza, I hope to see you there. So thank you. Thank you for your time and use ePMP.